Petitions and communications from the public. Okay, please step forward and state your name.
State my name.
State your name, but we know you, but some people might not.
My name is Linda McAllister. I have Zuzu's Petals Rock Shop here in Helen, and we're in our 9th year, which constantly amazes me and makes me happy. I have a short statement. I know that the vote has been taken and the decision regarding SoWo made, and I had sincerely hoped that the matter would be allowed to settle and to fade from that point forward. From my personal perspective, I believe that any continued focus on that event only serves to stir up emotions and prohibit us from moving forward. And forward is where our focus should be. Someone said Helen is the event, and I agree. There is, however, one thing that if I left unsaid, I know I would regret, and that's why I'm standing here now. Thank you, Chief Couch. Thank you for leading by example. Thank you for taking your professionals and building them into such a great team. I'm pretty sure you're aware of how they feel, but you're not out there, and you don't see them and the respect and admiration they show for you when they talk about you. I do not know what would have happened on May 16th if you were not at the helm. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, number 7. Administrative Operations. Troop Commander Captain Keith Canuck to discuss the SoWo event. If anyone has any questions, let's keep it to a minimum of 2 minutes each. And we're just going to be up for discussion too. And if you have something to say, sir,
okay.
Please go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for inviting me here today, and I want to get out front that the Georgia State Patrol, nor I, nor my people harbor any ill will toward the city of Helen or Chief Couch. I do feel that the back and forth in the press was unfortunate, but my response was just exactly what it was, a response to something that was said, that I had to respond to. I felt like to take up for unfair criticism on my people. But with that said, we want to be a friend of the city of Helen. The Georgia State Patrol is, we're a law enforcement assisting agency for those that request us from, agency heads of other jurisdictions in law enforcement. And our goal is to, assist and provide professional assistance to anybody that needs it in a respectable manner. But with that said, I don't feel like I'm going to make any statements or anything further than what I've said, but I will entertain any questions, as I feel like that's what you've invited me here to do today, is answer your questions. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions. Or
I would like to ask a question, and I think the biggest thing is, did the city of Helen contact you, Mr. Couch, and did you agree to help with the traffic and control of the people on the inside of the city limits of Helen during this event?
Well, let me explain. Let me try to break this down so that it'll make better sense. I'm over Troop P.
And what is Troop P?
21 counties of northeast Georgia,
okay,
which White County is one of, and I have 6 patrol posts that divide that area up into 3, 4, and 5 counties each. So the Post 6 commander, Richard Harper, is what White County falls in, his jurisdiction. So Chief Couch contacted Richard Harper, who is the post commander of Post 6, which covers White County. But Richard Harper then contacted me and sort of kept me apprised of the situation concerning the SoWo 2015, as he does it with any big event. But the drag race and commerce, that falls under, that's a different venue, and the post commanders pretty much are the local contact with the sheriffs and police chiefs. I sometimes take calls from them, but, and so they would, but this particular event went through Sergeant Harper and Chief Couch, as I understand it.
Okay.
And there was email correspondence from Chief Couch, and what I understand was that he asked Richard Harper, the post commander, for assistance. Really didn't say a number, really didn't give us a goal-oriented, what was our mission. I pretty much told Richard that we were going to stay out of Helen and patrol the outskirts so that our mountainous roads, like I said in my statement, would be turned into racetracks, because when you pack the 20,000 plus people into your town, then, and I have been an assistant police chief in my career, and I understand, you know, it's different than the role of the state patrol. But the state patrol is an absolute law enforcement agency. So for us to sit in here and let all these, and I'm not denigrating Chief Couch because he's in a different role and position, and he did what he thought was right. Nobody got hurt, nobody got killed, everything fortunately turned out great. But when the state patrol comes in, we can't stand by and watch the burnouts, and we can't stand by. So if we took a hardline law enforcement approach, I feel like that it would have went against what y'all were trying to do, which is have an event here to generate revenue. And we could have came in, and we could have downed them in the streets when they threw bottles at our troopers, and it would have turned ugly, and I mean quick. If that's what y'all wanted, I could do that. But I don't think that's what we wanted. So we sort of took the stance, so we're going to let Chief Couch dictate the tone and set the tone. But I mean, there was a lot of chaos that went on in the town, and we knew that was going to be the case, as that was the case, and it's been growing ever since the SoWo events here. I'm not being critical of the crowd. I'm just saying that a small number makes the whole crowd look bad. Is it the whole crowd? Absolutely not. I'm sure they were good people. 95% of them probably are 90. But when we come in as the state patrol, we're not going to get posted on YouTube where people set beer bottles on our cars, and we're not going to be, you know, scoffed at and mocked and all that. But we could have came in and arrested 50 people. What would we have done with it if we arrested 100? And that's easy to do. I mean, when you start arresting somebody, the crowd gets out of control, bottles get thrown, car windows get broke out, cars get keyed. What would we have done with 50? What would we have done with 100?
So there was no plan in place to arrest 50 people?
I didn't say
well, I mean,
not that I was aware of.
Right,
I didn't say there wasn't one.
right.
This is your quote, I believe. There was no traffic plan in place. There was no plan to deal with large crowds, nor was there a contingency plan to deal with civil disorder. If there were such plans, I, as the commander, was never consulted or made aware of it.
That's true. I was not aware of any such plan or ops plan.
Well, wasn't that because Jim was talking with Sergeant Harper instead of you?
Yes, ma'am, he was, but Sergeant Harper said that there was no such plan. And Sergeant Harper contacted the chief.
Where's Sergeant Harper today?
He wasn't able to make it. I mean, we have a 28-day roster. That's the way we plan our events, and that roster gets full, and toward the end, you know, they got obligations that they got to meet. He couldn't make it. He said he could Skype you or FaceTime you or whatever you needed, but couldn't make it.
One other question, and this says, as conditions inside the city of Helen deteriorated during the hours of May 16th, the unseen commander communicated with city officials. Nobody communicated with me.
Chief Couch is the city official that was the law enforcement head at
And
that time.
offered to mobilize additional GPS personnel to enter the city to assist with crowd control. The offer to bring in additional troopers was declined.
Correct. I gave Sergeant Harper instruction to pass on to Chief Couch if we came into the town. I would be in charge, and we would restore order if he felt like it was in that kind of decay.
But that would have been through a riot control unit?
Possibly. If you got 20...
It takes time.
Well, let me answer,
to
ma'am. If you're going to
organize
ask me a question, I would ask that you didn't interrupt while I finish answering.
that. I didn't interrupt. You weren't speaking at the time.
Go ahead, sir, please.
If you have that type of crowd, and I'm sure that everybody was aware of the events that were taking place in the streets of Helen at that time. To the point you had lost control of law and order. To safely restore that law and order, it would have took a mobile field force, which would have been police and riot gear. Now, we already know that police officers were taking models. That happened. Fact or not, Mr. Gouch?
Yes, it did.
We're not going to get out there and take models without riot protection on them. That's stupid. So,
Well, what concerned me was that seemed to be the only option you offered them.
What other option would you do if you had a riot over your hands, I guess?
there is no
There is
other
no
option.
other
If you have
There
a
wasn't a
riot,
riot at that time.
so you say.
Officer Couch,
If that's Officer Couch,
I'm sorry, Officer Canuck, I got the C part right. You said it, or Chief Couch, I think, stated that it would have taken so long for you to get here, so he felt like he had to make a decision and do what he had to do. How long approximately would it have taken to get that team in place to deter the riots?
Probably up to 2 hours.
Okay, and I do know that this situation went on into the wee hours. At what time of night did he decline your offer?
About 10:30 to 11:30 is when I was in constant contact. But look, that's why planning is key. The mobile field force should have been on standby. You knew what you were dealing with.
Well,
I mean, 14 troopers in that kind of crowd, in this kind of environment.
Well, we're just told it was kind of under control and that we had everything in place. Okay, so as a commission, and we're not in the police department, so,
I understand.
you know, we did not really know. At the last commission meeting before the SoWo event, the commission was told Georgia State Patrol will be here, we got all these off-duty policemen, and we got it under control. So we did not know any better, and that's our ignorance.
Well, I mean, planning is critical. And we did have a presence of 14 troopers, but if you divide the 28,000 by however many you had plus our 14, that's probably an officer per 300 maybe. I mean,
Was
Numbers won't
anyone,
work.
no, was anybody in town, any of your policemen or patrolmen when the main highway was closed?
not that I'm aware of. I think Richard, the post commander, was in town at the time as a contact, point of contact. But he wasn't on the streets actually patrolling. And I would say this, last year, SoWo 2014, we were confronted by business owners and proprietors in a negative way when we enforced the law in the streets. Like, you know, y'all need to get out of here, you're hurting our business type thing. And I understand it's just one of those things that happen, but either you want law enforcement in order or you don't. And the SoWo event person that applied for the permit should have been put out and the press should have been released. There will be absolute law and order in the streets if that's what you want. But that kind of thing takes planning with the sheriff. We locked up 30 people, I guess, that weekend, somewhere in the area of 30 people. That 30 people inundated that jail.
So there was no more room for anybody that, you know.
That's what I'm driving at. I just need a plan of operation. That's what the state patrol needs. What's our goals? What's our focus? What do y'all want? Because here's the deal. We send those troopers out there. All of a sudden, we decide to come in and restore order in your town. And somebody gets hurt bad, and you know the climate in which we live today. And I don't think you need me to go over what's been happening in these towns around here. Okay, trooper takes a rock. We arrest the guy. Crowd gets unruly. It breaks bad in a hurry.
And the town can go up flames in 1 minute.
And the town says, whoa, that's the state patrol. We never had an agreement. They just came in and did that. Well, is that the kind of position you would expect me to lead my men into?
No, sir. And there again, there is not going to be SoWo again in the city of Helen. That does not mean, the reason we want to get to the bottom of this is for any other future events that gets out of hand like this. So the commission and our chief of police, so we know what to do and what we're in for.
I don't blame Chief Couch for what went on that night. I think it sort of just overflowed its banks, and on the last night of any event, if it's fueled by alcohol and race cars, obviously there was people drinking and driving. We locked up 23 around the town and in the county that weekend. So it spilled over its banks. But what can we learn here today? I don't want to get into the he said, she said finger point. I want to be of help to the city, is that's what I said on the front end. Planning is key. Security must be provided.
You know, I totally agree with you and understand all that, but, you know, we were told every single thing was under control.
Not by me.
But not by you, but by our chief, who we, you know, have our confidence in.
Well, I'm sure that he thought that it was, or he wouldn't have told you that. I'm saying that the unfortunate incident spilled out, and I don't think
It went crazy, it went berserk, and it built, you know, as you said, young people drinking for a period of, some of them came here as early as Tuesday or Wednesday. And,
But you know, from historical overview, the whole past events, that this thing's been building and fueling and getting worse and more out of hand.
That's the reason we thought it was under control, because we were told. So we really thought it was going to be more under control. And there again, that was our ignorance. At any time as the Georgia State Patrol, from what I gathered, you had planned on basically being on the outskirts of the city to keep it from going into the county more and races being held outside and getting DUIs leaving town or coming in more so than any traffic control in the city of Helen.
As we did tell that to Chief Couch and Sheriff Walden prior to the event, and they were good with it.
So they were aware of it.
Now, just a minute. Now, when I talked to the sergeant, he told me Friday night, we're gonna have some north, we're gonna have some in the city, and we're gonna have some south, do road checks. But he said Saturday night, he was gonna put the main focus within the city to do traffic enforcement to stop the burnouts. And we agreed on that. But it seemed like, and this is just my opinion, but it seemed like by Friday night, after the meeting at the sheriff's office, things kind of changed. And it was, the troopers wasn't coming into the city. And that was kind of confusing me, and I think that caused the issue, because we had otherwise going good. We shut the Mississippi Street, but the state road was a different thing. And it just, what confuses me was there's somebody else in the county, an elected official or anything, I'm not trying to point fingers, that caused a change in that plan.
No.
No one?
That was my call. Not that night. I told them into the events leading in. 14 troopers. But how many troopers did you ask for?
He said I was going to have 14 troopers.
But what did you ask for?
What I asked for is, on April 14th, I am again begging for help. Any help would be appreciated.
Specifically.
Well,
But here's the deal. We need a specific plan. Is there an ops plan for this event?
There's a traffic control plan, yes, and a point plan where everybody was stationed.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, but this is just that's not an operational plan. Was there a contingency for mass arrest?
No,
Was there a contingency for a mobile field force to be on standby?
no. But I left it up to someone in command to do that. I was there when it ran.
Well, here's if I may, this is the email that we got. It's that time of year again, the flowers are blooming, the folks are about to start riding cubes down the hoops, and we're about to be invaded by 20,000+ VW fans. I'm again begging for help. It will be May 16th and 17th. Any help would be appreciated. Thanks, Jim.
That's me.
So you did not sit down and say, okay, this is what we're going to do with them and...
Yes.
You did sit down with them, or was it just an
We
email?
started Harper, yes. I sat down with him, I communicated with him, I've got cell phone calls, and how many times I talked to him to and from. And, I mean, we even discussed, we gave him portable radios for all the troopers, we gave him these things here, put municipal court dates on there. Talked about the helicopter coming in. I mean, we discussed all that. And I told him, I said, I just want you to do traffic enforcement within the city. You know, do the burnouts and everything. We've got the back streets pretty much taken care of.
But there again, you got 20,000 people. And what I need from Helen is clear direction. Do you want solid, hard line, no nonsense enforcement in town, or do you want to let the folks stagger about into traffic, and do you want them to burn it out in the streets? Now, when we do it one way, you don't seem to like it very much because it hurts the tourism. When we do it the other way, you know, what is it that you wanted from the Georgia State Patrol? That needed to be clearly defined. And I understand this is somewhat of a loose, I don't even say it's an ops plan, it's a loose, pretty much however it goes is the way it goes, and we're gonna have it when it comes up. That don't work with 20,000 people. That's dangerous.
And I think in 2013, in something that went out from Mr. Couch was that, you know, he was giving them breathing room. And I think we gave them too much breathing room in 2013, and that's when it kind of started getting out of hand. And I think this year, you know.
I will say this, and I'm not trying to point fingers or be lady, but you want to have the conversation, and we'll have it. The Georgia State Patrol's not going to get down in the street and shoot gang signs with people. And we're not going to give them our bullhorns, and we're not going to appease them, beg them, or plead with them, or give up ground on breaking the law. Now, if that's what you want, we need to stay in the outskirts and do what we did. Now, if you want hard line, no nonsense, no laws be broken, give us a place to put the people we're going to have to lock up. Figure it out. Let me know. Sit down with us, and we'll do that. But if you're going to say, no, let them have room to destroy, and let them have room to do this and that, then let them have room. We gave them room. We got outside the county and locked their tails up when they broke the law.
You know, what bothered me in your statement was, I again instructed troopers to stay out of Helen unless an officer needed assistance or property was being destroyed.
Yes, ma'am. And we did. When they had the incident with the record, we were on our way to it. It got resolved when we got there.
Commander Canuck, I'm not happy personally with the way things were handled as far as the burnouts being allowed because of the liability it could cause the cities. We could have had someone, they could have thrown a screw or something and killed a bystander. And I think that Jim handled that at the time out of complete panic, that was the only thing he could do. And it worked. It worked. And we're lucky, we're fortunate, thank the Lord, that nobody was injured or maimed or killed. But that, I'm not happy with that. I would have rather it had been you guys come in and do it your way and give us the help that we needed. I'm also not happy with the way that Jim did kind of get down with the guys and party with them and chant solo and do the sign. And
They owned you at that point.
How a chief of police should act.
I disagree with you.
See, then that's the problem. That's why we're in the county and you're in the city. We have a
I
disagreement.
disagree because that's called support. And that helped us last year when we had the problem at Elmore. It's talking to them and getting them to walk on. This year, the same thing. It gives you rapport. You know, everybody starts going back to Baltimore and Cleveland and all these other places where the riots are. When a white officer's walking down the road and two black gentlemen come over and say, "Can I get a picture with you?" That's amazing. You know, that they want to take a picture with me. I understand the direction of enforcement, but I also understand when you talk to these people, getting that opportunity to have that report. I know that 3 years ago, when the first asked the troopers to come in on that Saturday, troopers got out, walked down the road with these people, talked to them. I mean, they had a great time. And it really built a good rapport. I heard people saying, "God, these troopers are really cool, man. They come here and talk to us about our cars and stuff." And it's the same thing with our officers. I understand what you're saying, but I still think that you've got to be able to have that report. I don't think that made it get out of hand.
I understand what you're saying, and that's why I say I understand the role of the police officer. Because I was one. I was the assistant chief of the town.
I think we can talk this thing to death. SoWo is over and done yet. We just need to let it die.
But, does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Canoe? And I would like to thank you for coming in, you know, and there again, I do have a couple more questions for Mr. Couch, but does anyone have any questions for Mr. Canoe?
Officer,
Can I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
I've got two interests here. I retired with state patrol, got 30 years in communications, and I live here in Helen. And I love law enforcement, and I love here, home. Law enforcement's family, and Helen is home. And I guess Captain can give another figure maybe, but I'm thinking 90%, may not be that high, maybe higher, of law enforcement job is judgment calls based on their training and experience. And I think what happened that weekend was a lot of judgment calls. Some of it might have been wrong, some of it might have been right. But I think how we perceive things, how things are presented is a lot of times how we perceive. And with all the negativity that went on through the social media and everything, it got out of hand from people who don't know what they're talking about. I didn't see what Chief Couch saw or Sergeant Harper saw, and so I can't make a comment on it. I know it was a riot squad, I know it was a mob, and whatever judgment calls they made, I think they did because they had to. And you either have to trust our law enforcement to protect us or not. It doesn't work both ways. And what they do, I think we should commend them and thank them. Instead of picking everything apart, we can do this from here on out. And it's not going to solve anything. You as a commission voted not to have SoWo back. That resolved it right there.
That resolved SoWo. It did not resolve in the future other events that might get out of hand is the reason we're trying to get to the bottom of this and find out what we can change.
Well, I understand that, and maybe until Captain just explained what is expected of the state patrol, did anybody in here know that? Did y'all know anything that what they require? And maybe Chief Couch didn't know it at the time, know everything. But I think he knows now, and that's because the captain's come and explained the criteria.
That's the
and I
reason we
think
have it.
moving forward, maybe we can do better. I would just like to, look at what didn't happen. We didn't have any loss of life.
Felt like that he was left out of meeting that we had prior to this one, which was not just a SoWo meeting. I think you understand that now. It was our normal scheduled city commission meeting. And, you know, it was not the whole meeting about SoWo. That's why we're invited. And that's why we invited you today, so you would have
And I appreciate
a chance to
the
express your
opportunity.
side. And, you know, we just,
Well, thank you so much for coming.
thank
You
you.
may listen.
Brad had a question.
I want-
Yeah,
Okay.
in your opinion, everybody's hindsight's always 20/20. Is there any better way to diffuse the situation once it gets out of hand than how it was handled? Do you think?
Well, I could sit here and say yes,
Yes,
with the
and I
luxury
agree.
of having hindsight. I don't know what Chief Couch was experiencing or thinking, but me and him talked, and nobody lost their lives, nobody got seriously injured. But if the state patrol had been in that environment as a presence, and that type of thing went on, and we were not allowed to put it back under control, then we would have been just as liable if somebody got run over in the street and those people shutting down for an ambulance couldn't get to the north of town to revive some heart attack patient or anything. So,
And I don't know if people realize if that had happened, or one screw or one bolt had gone off of a car, if they were allowed to do the burnouts, the city of Helen would have been sued for everything they could have possibly ever gotten in the next 100 years.
and the Georgia State Patrol has been right in the
Right,
middle
so
of it.
what I'm saying is if even though it did not happen, it could have happened so easy and put a lot of people's lives and safety in the city of Helen in jeopardy. Because, you know, I mean, that's our biggest thing, and that's what, you know, we need to make sure from now on, if something happens, that we're going to abide by the law to protect the city
That tenor needs to be set on the front end
Right.
and maintained throughout the event.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, that's why we got to get to the bottom of this, because, I mean, in the near future, we could get sued very easily, you know, by someone wanting to make a rapport with people instead of, you know, doing what the law states you're supposed to do. And I can understand what he was trying to do, but at the same time, you're putting the city of Helen in a big liability.
And Captain, you probably agree that I need that resources. It may cost the city quite a bit if I bring in 100 officers from Gwinnett to help, that the city's gonna be on tap.
Absolutely.
But now
If you're gonna
SoWo
have
was
an
gonna
event-
pay for this, did SoWo, did you not sit
SoWo
down?
can only pay for so much.
Well,
It's
you-
not gonna pay for $6,500.
Well, no, you didn't tell us that, you said SoWo, you was gonna get with SoWo and tell them how many policemen you needed, and did you do that?
$6,500, that's all they can pay.
Well, you didn't come back to us and say, okay, that's not gonna be enough policemen.
No, you said it was under control.
It was under control at that time until we got to 28,000 people.
But you knew there was gonna be 25 to 28,000 people. You kept telling us, this is gonna be the maximum. They expect it to be at the top. So you were aware there was going to be that many people in town.
I just want to make sure you understand that, okay, if something like this comes up again, we're talking 100 officers at least, and the city's gonna.
Well, why did we not have it before? I guess the reason, you know, you did not tell us that. You never came to us and said, we need 100 officers to have this in control. SoWo can only pay 6,500. You did not tell us that whatsoever.
You know, we haven't had the issues that we had this year. It was just overwhelming.
It's hard to predict with that many people, how their behavior or what they're gonna do.
Well, you know, if you get that many people drinking, it's not gonna be a pretty sight. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Shahan.
2 questions. Does the state patrol have a formula for plans bringing, for a city to contact them to say we're having a festival, a concert, whatever? I know y'all do this all over the state. Do you have a certain communication with the city council and the police chief, or is it just up to the police chief?
I'm very accessible. I can be contacted by anybody, anytime.
And secondly, anytime you have a festival, concert, whatever coming into your town, we should be requiring a performance bond. Then when you have to bring the right people in, it's covered. Because you cash that performance bond to pay for the extra force that you need. So I hope that y'all think about going forward, any type of car show or balloon festival or whatever that requires extra from our town, that we ask them for a large performance bond to take care of any extra issues.
Is that in our special events, Mr. Ruffin?
No, they have to have a bond or insurance policy for the city, insuring the city along with them for special events, performance bond, no.
They are responsible for paying for law enforcement, additional sanitation, those things that are tied in with the event under the ordinance, which I think is what Jim's point, the $6,500 number. Certainly, a higher number could be requested depending on what the scope of the event was.
Right.
So yes.
I did not know there was a limit. That was never brought to the commission.
Well, there's not a limit per se, I'm just saying that's what Jim's saying the number was that they discussed with SoWo. And if it was a big enough event, we could say, you want to put on this event, you've got to fork out $20,000 for that additional.
And that's what I thought. We had told SoWo, and that's why this is the first time I've heard only could pay me $6,500.
Me too.
That was never brought up. Thank you.
Well, before I leave, I'd like to make 2 quick points if I may. You gotta look at when y'all bring in an event into your town and the taxpayers of Georgia are absorbing it. If you bring in a mass scale of troopers, then that's, you know, if it's an event where you can't help it, and we're there, we're coming, and we're going to, if it's something like I said in my letter, if they descend upon you uninvited, we're going to be there to help you, all resources available. However, if it's a planned revenue generating event that y'all are planning inviting in the Georgia State Patrol, what you're asking is for the taxpayers of Georgia to gather up all the resources for y'all and they at their expense. So it's a fine line. I'm not ever going to decline a call for help from anybody if it's immediate. But when you plan these events out, security should be something that's thought through and financed by the people that want to come in and hold the event.
Right, and that's what we thought had happened.
Okay, and
That's
secondly, I want to say that when I leave here today, I don't want to leave here making enemies. I hope I leave here making friends. So, Chief Couch, I don't want to, I said I didn't want to come up here, and my mission was not to skewer the chief and point fingers. Hopefully, this was a fact-finding, enlightening, eye-opening type forum, but, I don't wish any ill on the chief, and he's, if we all could see down the road in the future, we would do things differently. But did he do at the time what he felt in his heart was necessary? I believe he did. So with that said, justice, if there is any, should be tempered with mercy. And I think it caught everybody just as off guard as everybody else. So with that said,
Thank you.
there's no more questions.
Captain Fanning,
Yes, sir.
make some comments. I really appreciate you coming up here.
Yes, sir.
And being bold and straightforward. This town is very unique. And sitting and listening to the dialogue back and forth, we're fortunate to pack 3,000 or 4,000 people in here during Oktoberfest for special events. I doubt you have very few towns in your district that can brag about that. So, therefore, being unique in nature, the third-ranking tourist destination, I feel like it's very important that the chief of police communicate to you each week, just by email, Captain, FYI, Oktoberfest weekend, anticipating 5,000 people. Just wanted to let you know. I'd like to see, because Helen, Georgia is a part of the state, and we pay a lot of sales tax into them, we don't expect anything free, but you don't need any surprises.
True, and I agree with that. That's
And
fair.
Neil Walden doesn't need any surprises. They said that there were calls from all over the county. So it didn't only happen here, it happened. What happened that Saturday night? I appreciate your remarks. There's no answer to it. Not sure if there's a breakdown in the communication of who said what. That's history. We don't need events that big, and we will never put you in that kind of position. If we do, we're going to talk about it a whole bunch.
I appreciate you. That's fair.
We have one more question from Cliff here, right past you.
Yeah, I'll be just real quick. The timeline, what can we expect as far as having some sort of a plan laid out between the GSP and the Helen Police Department, as far as having something in place so that we can be more proactive instead of being reactive? I know you said you just didn't need to make a phone call, but this is probably something that should be part of the event planning process as well. So when someone submits a plan for an event, if you've got X number of people, it's going to trigger that where we need to get everybody involved. Is this something you guys are working on immediately, or?
Can. Yeah, I'd be open to that, but it's like my father always used to say, when you make an important decision, take all the time you have, not all the time you need. So if you knew it was coming a year in advance, we should have had that rolling.
Right.
Thank you.
Because understand, we got other obligations across the state that we got to sort of plan.
So Helen is not your only.
No. Yeah, I do want to say that you're just as important to me as anyone else in the 21 county area that I command. Just as.
I think Julie, Mr. Kelly's wife, has a question.
Yes, full disclosure,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a business here in Helen for 13 years, and I have been married to the chief for 35 years. We've been in law enforcement the whole time, so we've been on this roller coaster
I understand.
many times, and I know you all are very difficult decisions and have to make hard decisions at the time, but people like to judge and say, I would have, or they should have, and those people, most of them really would have tucked their tails and ran if they had to be in either of your positions. So I understand that, and I'm not going to do that. But at any time that you or Sergeant Harper let our police department know that the field force was an option, a resource that was
Yes.
available to them before the actual prices of them.
Well, I think
And I did not hear the question totally, what was available before it?
The riot, the
Right.
field force
Okay.
thing, did you ever let them know ahead of time that that was a resource that you could make available to them, that you could have them on standby or alert or have them ready to go?
Well, there again, that's part of my, not complaint, but concern that the plan wasn't entirely in place. We didn't discuss any of these. We were just told to bring, the local post commander was contacted that has local resources. He has 16 troopers available. And they were, you know, he asked for help to come up here and work the town. That's what we provided, the
Last year,
local.
there was a situation that almost got really bad. And
Yeah.
State Patrol was right there with our officers, working side by side to get control of that situation. So I think everybody was aware that there was the potential of this happening again this year. And I think that had we known that that field force was available and could have been placed on alert or even be already activated outside the city limits somewhere, so they could have gotten here quickly if that happened.
But it's not my position to plan your event unless I'm asked to
No,
assist.
and I'm not saying, and no one expected your officers to stand out there and take bottles being thrown at them. I believe there are other options available, you know, for that. As a law enforcement spouse and mother, you know, I understand how hard it is. And I understand your reasoning and your decisions for, you know, for having the troopers leave the city, and I understand that. I know you stand by your decisions just as the chief does his. I always feel like law enforcement sticks together. You know, they have each other's back, and when things are in a crisis, and that's when you stick together and you pull together and you work together, you know, to resolve the situation.
That's true, and we will
You
in the
don't
future.
abandon each other.
But that night, though, it was ill planned.
Nobody's saying that it
You want
is.
14 troopers, that's a small number compared to the crowd, but
It-
everybody should have saw the crowd was 20,000 plus, we
It
knew
was,
it.
and it was growing, and it, you know, it was growing. And last year, it was borderline, but you were able to keep it under control. I think there is some more options besides, you know, just, like I said, no one expected your troopers to sit there and have bottles thrown at them and not do anything. You know, there were options available, you know.
Such as, I mean,
You know, last year, the troopers got out their riot gear and were ready to go, you know, right there with our officers.
but 14, ma'am, really? 14, that's not very many.
No, it's not, but.
It would be hard for
It's
14
what we
troopers to
had-
arrest
it's
this
what we
crowd
had to
thing.
work with at the
There needs to be
time.
more planning when you have an event that big.
My point was
That is the bottom
Well,
line.
there won't be any other events that big.
Thank you, Mr. Knupp,
Thank you.
for coming. We got one more question from Jim.
Yes, sir.
This is it.
Captain, I got a question for you. You kept referring back to the lack of a plan. Chief, how many years have you been here since the SoWo events have been coming to town?
This is my third.
This is your third. Okay, in the first two events that your troopers participated in, were you aware of any plan of action or whatever you kept referring to?
No, sir.
Haven't been discussed. So we've had two events leading up to this third one now, and there was no plan for the first one, according to you, the chief was involved in. No plan for the second one, according to you, the chief was involved in. Why on this third one is that such a major point, except for the fact that it got out of control? It wasn't your fault. It's not chief's fault. The blame rests with this community for inviting an organization into this town that we knew from last year's event, with the events that happened at the Helen down on the river, that this crowd had the potential to destroy this town in a heartbeat. It's not your fault. It's not chief's fault. It's our fault as a city, as a community, for inviting groups like that into our town and opening our doors to them. Virtually saying, come on in.
Well, we closed the door to them.
And that's exactly what we needed to do, but we're slinging mud at everybody here. And
We're not trying to slick up, we're trying to get to the bottom, so if this
it was-
happens again, we'll know what to do. Okay? That is a big step.
Absolutely, but nobody's wanting to take, I had haven't heard anybody say, I participated in this. I
We
voted for
all are
this thing coming to
responsible for what
town.
happened. It's
Part of
the
this,
city.
part of this rests with me.
You know,
I was
Jeff,
here last year at commission meeting when the chief told y'all about what happened at Helen. I was sitting here, I listened to everybody. He tried to tell y'all then, the chief, I may be wrong, I don't mean to be speaking to you, but that crowd was it. We reached our limits last year. Yet we rubber stamped out of
Yeah,
it.
because
brought
he
back
said
in
we got it
town.
under control.
Jeff, a lot of this is over on our family's property.
I
I'm
understand.
totally against it. I hate this event, but the community wanted this for the revenue for this community. So we knew, we were told that, you know, it was gonna get as big as it did this year. Belinda, you're shaking your head. Maybe you didn't want it, but there's a lot of people that did. And that is the reason that we sanctioned it yet again.
So we're saying again, money trumps public safety, the health and well-being of the community and the success. It's okay to put our police officers into
Yes,
a
and you know what,
major
Jeff? Maybe we all make some very poor decisions to let this happen again. I'd be the first one to say that. But we were doing what we felt like our community wanted. That's why we were elected.
I understand this, and I'm.
Sure isn't for the money we make every month, I've got news.
I understand that, but I hate to see what's happening here with the finger pointing and blaming. It all seems to be going over that chair right here, Chief said. I haven't seen any fingers turned back toward our chest up here. I was part of that board that voted for that permit, for that group to come back in. I share some responsibility in it.
You know, like Billy Chisholm said, that we, the city, put our police department in a no-win situation, okay? But our police department told us everything was copacetic. It was taken care of. No problems. That was the last meeting prior to SoWo.
So that's what we were going by, okay? And we're not pointing fingers, we're not slinging mud. We're trying to get to the bottom, and SoWo will never be back. But in case there is another event, we want to find out what it is. We found out there was no real plan to lock up 50 people. What do you do with them when you lock them up? There is nowhere to put them. There was no real plan sitting down and planning out that we needed 100 policemen. You didn't tell us that. You didn't come back and say SoWo only said we have 6,500. You know, I can only afford to hire 10.
After the event was planned, and I come back and say you needed 100 2 weeks before or whatever, are you gonna say go ahead and hire them?
That's not the point. You didn't. You did not come back and say anything to that effect. You told us everything's under control,
Just the
Jim.
what that I had and the money and the resources
Well,
that I had. It wasn't-
you didn't explain what that meant.
We're all
And I'm
on
sorry.
it.
But anyway, thank you, sir.
To answer your question before I go, I assumed command of this troop August 1st of 2014. I've been a lifelong resident of this area. I live over in Habersham County, so I'm a neighbor to y'all. But I'm a 31-year veteran of law enforcement. And, you know, I do not take lightly sending my men into peril. It's a very heavy decision. I'll do it, and they'll blindly follow me, but that's because I need to provide them with solid leadership. And that means having a plan. When you take the masses of 20,000 plus with 14 men, I mean, we'd brought in more if that's what you'd asked for, but really, we wouldn't ask for that. We would ask for a presence, and that's what we provided. So,
Captain, you're absolutely correct.
I know.
I find no fault with Georgia State Patrol role in this. I find no fault with our local police department role in this.
and that's what I told Chief Couch. It happened. It's over. We've learned. I just want it to be a civil departure, and we'll help you in the future. And the chief did what he thought he needed to do at the time.
I agree.
Thank you,
for answering the
sir.
question.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you for having me.
I'm sorry, that's all the questions for him. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I do,
Appreciate it.
like I said, I do have a couple of questions for Mr. Couch, only after reading and rereading. In your first report, and I understand you gave us 2 reports. Your first report, you said at the last minute, Sheriff Walden would not allow his employees to assist us. When did he change his mind, and was that something you sat down with with Sheriff Walden and asked for his help, and then why did he change his mind at the last minute?
Let me explain to you. We hired, using that $6,500, we hired deputies to come and work. We hired 10 deputies to do that. Now, what we do is we send out down to the sheriff's office a list of the times and the number of deputies that we need. And I asked for 10. However, only 7 signed up, so that puts 3 down. The other thing that happened was when the state patrol or an officer actually arrests somebody, you have to do what's called a booking. And that's bring them in, photograph them, fingerprint them, that kind of thing. So if a trooper or an officer comes in and they have to book somebody in, I have to take somebody off the road that's handling calls for service and bring them in to do that. Okay? So that means you're lessening the number. Well, I asked that a detention officer from the sheriff's office being paid out of the SoWo funds would come up and do this to actually help us do the bookings. That way I don't have to take people off the road and keep them back here trying to calm things down. Well, it went fine until the last minute. It was no, it won't happen. We're not going to do it. We're not going to let it happen. So at the night of the 16th, at times I had 2, maybe 3 officers in here that should have been on the road that are booking in prisoners.
Did he say why he changed his mind? Did you ask him?
Yes.
Okay.
The person, I didn't ask him, but the person that was going to work it asked him. And I was just told that, A, that you can't wear 2 badges. And the second thing was that our jail is not a real jail, but it can only hold so much back here. It's not considered a real jail. I said, well, it's a 2-hour jail. We hold people for no more than 2 hours till we do all the processing. That's it. Now, as for why we didn't have more deputies, by Thursday, my understanding from the sheriff's office was they were trying to find deputies to come in because they were getting beat up on the roadway with all the SoWo moving on. But the majority of the deputies were down here working.
But you did not talk to Sheriff Walden yourself to ask him if it was okay for this person to do this. You just hired somebody and assumed they should do
That
it.
was that person's responsibility to get the clearance. And he got clearance from his supervisor, from the chief deputy, he got the last person to stop.
And one other question, Mr. Couch. When you gave us your report on SoWo, nothing was ever mentioned about you closing down Main Street.
Because that was a preliminary report. However, later on it came out more, because I was going on vacation. I came in that Sunday night, stayed late.
He said this is the final report with information on SoWo.
No, I gave Gary a memorandum this past week, Tuesday, and I explained to him that day, I said, here's the memorandum, I'm not going to do a press release, because I think this is all under the water under the bridge. But I also said that I would be glad to sit down with the commissioners this past Tuesday, or when we came back, to go over what we did and have any questions answered for you. I was willing to do that. Now, I haven't heard anything else back from that, but I also give you the newest update that I was going to do a press release.
I got one final question.
Okay.
Does anybody else have a question for Mr. Couch?
I have a question.
Okay.
In 2013, what was the estimated number of people from SoWo?
I think about 19 or 20,000, if I'm not mistaken.
About, the 2013 was about 16,000.
And how many in 2014?
18.
So to me, to put the blame on Chief Couch is just, shouldn't be. Because to say that in 2013 we had problems, in 2014 it got out of hand, I was here. We've operated a business for 35 years in Helen. I drove through the chaos. What happened was beyond what our police department could handle. Maybe things were not in place, but to say that he should know that we're going to need all of these resources with that, say, 5,000 increase in population is unreasonable. And also, I'd like to say that hasn't been brought up, a lot of the chaos was created by locals. A lot of local teenagers, 20-something-year-olds, came into Helen. And I know that because my niece reported back to me that she saw them there. And I would just like to say that as a business owner, a resident most of my life of White County, I commend our chief for what he did and the resources that he had.
Thank you very much.
Gary, I think I see where you're coming from, but I think you're mistaken. We're not here trying to put all the blame on Jim Couch at all. We're trying to just to get the he said facts straight and try to find out why some decisions were made and others were not made.
I understand that, and I support it SoWo. Sunday, when I opened my business up, I can't tell you how many SoWo people came in and apologized. I don't want them back. I don't profit from them, but I supported them in the early days.
Well,
I think,
it
as
was
this gentleman
overwhelming.
stated here, we reached our limit in 2013. That should have been the last year. What happened this year was beyond any.
We all have made mistakes in this. We all have. No one is slinging mud. We're trying to get to the bottom, like I've made a comment 5 times. We're just trying to get to
If
the
that's
bottom.
the truth, Chief Couch did say that he had an open invitation to sit down with any of you all, answer any questions you had, or meet with any of you.
Julie,
I know,
everybody deserves a
you asked
vacation.
many questions.
Everybody deserves a vacation, Julie, but, we had our meeting the very first Tuesday after that catastrophic weekend, and Jim was gone. He was gone. He had a sergeant here to answer his
We could sit down
questions.
with a calendar and try to plan a vacation. We would.
Well, he could have gone one day late to be here to talk to us.
Has said he would sit down and talk to any of you and answer any questions. Have you asked him any questions up until this point today?
We haven't seen him.
I did. I went over and he's been here the whole time. And he let Mr. Evans know he'd be willing to sit down with any of you and answer any question you had at any time. But
I did not see
the way to
anything
do
from
that
him
in
that he
public
would sit down and
forum,
answer any questions at any time.
he did convey that to Mr. Evans and to let you all know that.
Okay. I have one last question on Mr.
But
Helen.
to not ask him any questions and then wait and do it in a public forum, when all of you could have sat down and discussed this, that does make you question.
But I don't have a problem talking with Jim. I've been in his office many times and asked him questions about things and problems. But
And
I
he
have
was
not
very
seen
willing to
him.
answer
Y'all
your
been
questions.
gone. I didn't know when he'd be back.
We've been back for, we were only gone from Monday to Friday.
But,
We didn't even stay on a
I
whole
just
week.
felt like that this situation was so horrendous that I just was really surprised that he wasn't here for that meeting. And then he could have left right after that to go join his family. I really felt like he's the one that needed to be here to answer those questions that day.
When we left here on Sunday, this was not the fiasco that it turned out. We had no way of knowing this was going to erupt into some sort of fiasco and circus.
Okay, I do have one other question for Mr. Couch. Who is your direct supervisor that you answer to on a day-to-day basis?
City manager.
Okay. I just wanted to.
And can I say this too? Folks, I looked at my officers, all 3 of them that were standing next to me that night. I looked in their eyes, and I knew that if I walked in that crowd of 3,000 people, we were not going to come out without getting hurt or hurting somebody. Those are hard decisions. And I and Chief Poteet were the only direct department heads in this city at that time of night. Now, you're talking about a major event. We were there. And I stood next to my officers. They'll tell you, I stood next to them that night and made that decision, folks. Now, we're not on the national news. No one got hurt. We lucked out. But it worked. It worked. It really did. Now, I told them that night, gentlemen, I'm taking full responsibility for the actions that I'm about to do. It's on me, not you. And from that day on, officers come up to me and shake my hand and say, thank you for taking responsibility. And I still do, folks. I take responsibility for the mistakes I made or the good things that I did. We went uptown.
Yeah, we did. We're not getting sued because we could have been sued very, very easy.
On both aspects.
Any other
We could get
questions for
sued for
Mr.
anything, any day.
Mr. Eckley?
I was at in my place, 11:30, so I wanted to get there. I told every policeman I've seen in the last week how much I appreciate them, what they've done. Jim and them had to make some calls that night. And when I left out of your last meeting, I thought I was surprised to hear y'all having this meeting on discussing all this, because I thought that you decided not to have them, or all that stuff, not gonna have them back. But unless you're standing down there where he was and had to make those calls, was any of the council or anybody from the city down at that bridge and all that area at midnight?
Earlier that day, Helen was downtown, we were all
part
there.
of it. We all live right here, Mo.
I know, but I'm just saying, Jim and them, I think our police department did all they could, and
Well, we agree with you. What
Okay,
we're trying to get to the
I'm
bottom of is what we could have done to keep, yeah, he's correct. Nothing happened. The city is not getting sued. The city could be sued, be getting sued right now for everything they'll have in the next 100 years because of some of the decisions Mr. Couch did make. Like he said, we lucked out. We're not getting sued. He made a judgment call, okay? That's not what we're doing. We're not slinging mud here.
More important than not getting sued is that nobody was killed.
So what is the definition of the bottom of it?
So we will know, just like the state patrol. I don't think there was a lot of planning that went into this. I think there was emails sent back and forth. The city commission was never told we need 100 policemen. We were told we were fine. We were never told that SoWo was only going to pay $6,500 toward policemen. None of that, we were not told that. So
No, but all that's been decided, I mean.
today it has.
Today, yeah.
Today we're just finding all this out. That's the reason for this meeting. And that's the reason we wanted to bring the Georgia State Patrol in, to find out. We were told they pulled out for their own safety, okay? They were never asked, quote, to pull in.
And we didn't go run him down. He
No,
requested.
so, he wanted to be able to come and say his side. So what we're gonna say, no, we don't want to hear from you?
Oh, no. I
No,
agree
okay,
with
so that's what this is. This is not,
It's not a witch hunt. It's not a witch hunt.
No. Mr. Ackerman?
I'm gonna make a couple comments briefly. I bought me by the jail, I think most of you guys know that. And I was there when Jim was going through his problems. First of all, the people I bonded out, most of them, the state troopers got around 80 amount of DUIs. That was most of your arrests that all the bonding companies in White County bonded out. Most of them. I want to say something about locals coming in causing problems, like the guy with the gun, who I bonded out. He comes in with a friggin' Corvette, pulls up to a bunch of guys, says, you don't need these foreign cars, you need American cars. And all they did was walk over to him, and he pulls a gun on him.
And that's neither here nor there.
But no, I just want to make, what I'm trying to say, excuse me, I have 2 minutes, I think. What I'm trying to say is, a lot of, that guy was from Duluth, by the way. A lot of people I bonded out, yeah, he was from New Jersey, New York. Most of the people that eased out, able to go to city bonded out, was locals coming in here causing problems. I think he did a hell of a job.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other questions about this? If not, this horse is now dead. Okay, we're going to continue with our meeting.